Hi, I'm Brina.
And I'm Dee Dee.
And we're Mighty Moms, to Owen and Tad, who are both on the autism spectrum.
We're going to share real, honest content and experiences
about what it's like to be a mom of a kiddo on the autism spectrum.
Between the two of us, there is nothing we haven't experienced.
We don't hold back, and neither should you.
Here we go.
Welcome to Mighty Moms Podcast. This is our second episode of 2025, and today we have a retired attorney, from what I read, and author of a book that we want to talk about today, and her name is Lynn Greenberg. Thank you, Lynn, for coming on the show today.
Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to talking to you.
Of course. And like I was telling Lynn before we started, we're very informal. Like, we're two autism moms. We literally don't have time for formalities.
Works for me.
We are just who we are.
Very down to earth. And just wanted to talk to you about your book, which is called Robby, the Dyslexic Taxi. So cute, but also so informative. I was just telling, we actually mentioned you and your book on our live that we just did an hour ago on our Facebook page and our TikTok, which we're still figuring out. But we were talking about the book, and we were telling everybody, hey, we're about to record a podcast with a guest author. And we were talking about the book and how incredible the illustrations are, which are by Jonathan Greenberg, who is your son.
He's my youngest son, yes.
Your youngest son.
And you have 4 children, correct?
I have 4 children, 3 in-law children, and 3 grandchildren.
All right.
Okay, full house.
And you're from Connecticut?
I am from Connecticut, and most of my family, my kids live around here. John is, not today, but in Chicago getting his MFA.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he goes to the Art Institute of Chicago?
He does. The School of Art in Chicago, it's called.
right.
SAIC,
That's
yes.
amazing.
Oh, School of Art.
Yes.
Nice. And he did all these beautiful illustrations
Thank you.
throughout.
They are beautiful. I was actually thinking I
I
want
love
to
the
order
colors.
Thank
a
you.
copy to frame some of these, because like, how beautiful would this piece be just framed?
That's so
You
sweet.
know?
Thank you.
I
I'm going to
love
tell
that.
him. He
Well,
wanted me
that's
to
beautiful.
say hi. Thank you.
Well,
Yeah, he
thank
wishes he could be
you.
here.
Well,
So
hi,
tell
John.
us a little bit about John and how you discovered that he could be dyslexic. Like, how did y'all figure that out? Because I know a lot of people want to know, like, what to look for, what are the signs. Kind of like early intervention is the key, of course.
Yes.
Give us a little background on that.
So, John is my youngest of 4. And, we know that everybody learns differently and in their own, way and time. But John was just not meeting some of the milestones that we thought he should be, or that I was, used to seeing. And on the one hand, he could tell you every Thomas the Tank Engine's name when he was little, but not tell you that Thomas started with the letter T. And
Sure.
so we just knew something was up. And, unfortunately, like, even in nursery school, his teachers were like, oh, he's a boy, and he's just not that smart. And I'm like, that's not my kid,
No.
You're like, no, he's very intelligent.
He's
Thank
very
you.
intelligent, smarter than you,
Yeah.
So I find that kind of negative talk to be so unproductive
Yes,
and
it
hurtful.
is. I love that. I love that you say that,
Yeah. So
because it's like there's so much power in what we say
Yeah.
and what we speak over our children. So, and I read something a while back. Of course, I'm reminded of the scripture, and I don't know if you're spiritual or not, and I don't mean to impose anything, but it reminds me of the scripture that the life and death is in the power of the tongue. And, even if you don't look at that from a spiritual perspective, we are what we say, and our children are what we say. And if we say, oh, well, he's just not up to par. No, what we really need to expound on is the things that they're amazing at. And then,
Yes.
you work on those limitations as you go, but always speak that life and positivity into
Absolutely.
your children.
I couldn't agree more. We always say that John's John's dyslexia is his superpower.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
you know, it encouraged him to think outside the box, and that's how he got his strength. And
I love
you
that.
know, look at how he's developed into an amazing. I mean, he is an amazing human being. I'm not even just saying that as a prejudiced
Yeah.
mom. He is empathetic and sweet and
Yeah.
kind,
Yes.
and he's so
Yes.
artistic.
I
Um,
love that.
so he got more out of it than people sometimes give people with differences credit for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
love that.
agree.
And that comes across so well in the book too that incredible because you see I never, and I don't know a ton about dyslexia. My son is nonverbal. He has not shown signs of being able to like even have the cognitive ability to understand to read. He does work with some letters, so a lot of times we don't know that our kids who are nonverbal autism may also be dyslexic. We don't know that, but I love how in the book it's so simple, and but the storyline just really expounds on what Robby's abilities are and not his limitations. And I also love that the other characters in the book around him,
Are helpful and
they're
inclusive. Yeah.
encouraging and inclusive, and they set tasks for him. They set those tasks for him, those routes for him that he already knew because it only took him one trip to, memorize it.
Yeah.
And that's what we do with, people that we're around. And I think about the company that I manage. Like I have an employee for me who's an adult who's on the autism spectrum but very high functioning, but he also has very high anxiety. So I know that when I give him tasks, there's a certain set of there's a protocol. So like when I give him a task, I'm going to give him a lot more direction, and I'm going to accommodate what he's going through. So I like try to see it through his eyes and accommodate how he needs to be told to do something and empower him to be able to do it.
To be
And
successful.
Yeah, and I love that. I loved that in the book.
Thank you.
So how old is John?
John is now 25.
Okay.
Yep. So we we learned, I was pretty sure something was going on, but I did not know a lot about dyslexia. So,
Okay.
and I didn't know, anybody in my family. And then later on, it turns out there were quite a few family members. So, in my cousins and my mother-in-law's mother,
Okay.
so but at the
All
time I
had
didn't.
dyslexia?
Pardon? All
All of them
had it,
had
but
dyslexia.
nobody,
Okay.
way back,
It was
nobody
undiagnosed. Yeah,
undiagnosed.
Yeah.
just like
And
autism. And you
yes,
start to look at people differently and you think, oh, so we do that with autism. I think about adults, or even like my husband has said, he's like, I know that I'm on the spectrum, like very high functioning, but like himself,
Yeah.
And
yeah,
so, and it makes so much sense in some of the things that we used to argue about that I would nitpick about as a
Yeah.
wife. I'm now like, oh,
Yeah.
and it makes sense.
yes.
And
And
so,
yeah, well, and when you don't know, so I knew that something was going on and and I turned off all the negative voices because
yeah.
I wanted to know what would be best for John. And I spoke to a friend who's a pediatrician, and then I finally spoke to my pediatrician, and he gave me the names. The school was like,
I
not going to
know.
do
Yeah.
anything. And so I went and we had him tested. Sure enough, classic dyslexic,
Wow.
very, very high IQ, just needed to
Yes.
learn how to read differently. And he also had ADHD, which,
Yeah.
you know, many people with neurodivergent issues have comorbidities, have more
Yes.
than one thing going on
Yes.
at a
Sure.
time. So,
Yes.
you know,
So
and
once you learned that he needed to learn how to read differently,
mhm.
what are what are those techniques? Again, I don't know a lot about dyslexia. What are what
What's the
techniques do
therapies
they?
that they
Yeah.
So, dyslexia is actually, if you did an MRI, they do these functional MRIs. Not
Hmm.
you don't need to do them. That's not the way you need
Sure.
to test. But if you took an MRI of somebody's brain who was a normal reader,
Hmm.
different parts of their brain light up. And for a dyslexic, some of those parts will never light up. So
Oh,
so they need to find other ways in the brain pathways to teach a person with dyslexia how to read. And
okay.
a lot of people have different thoughts, but for us, with our investigation, there's a method called the Orton-Gillingham method. And
Okay.
they, unfortunately, a lot of um, teachers, teachers in general, but even learning specialists just don't know how to teach it. And we
Yeah.
tried to keep him in his public school, but they were not helping him at all. And he was frustrated,
That's so
you know,
frustrating.
getting pulled out and embarrassed. And
Yeah.
so we made the family decision. There's a school about an hour away.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a private school, and we made the family decision to eat a lot of peanut butter, and yeah, and B, then I would be driving him every day to the school. So, as
Wow.
a family, we sort of had to pull together because
Yep.
obviously, other children at home.
Right.
But everyone felt like this was a really important choice. And so we went to, it's called the Windward School. And they
I
teach
saw
only
that.
kids with dyslexia or language-based learning differences. All have to
Oh,
be
Wow.
smart kids. Yes.
incredible.
So we were very, very lucky to have that nearby.
I love
So
that.
was in Connecticut or was that in
It's
another
actually in New
state?
York.
New York.
So
Okay.
it was about an hour without traffic away.
Yeah.
Um,
Wow.
and
So
he went for
it's funny,
four
and I know,
years.
and I won't talk about this long, but I did something similar with my son Owen, who was diagnosed with autism when he was 3. We lived in Sherman, Texas at the time, with a population of about 45,000 people, so not small by any means, but about an hour north of Dallas.
Hmm.
And astounding enough, whenever he was diagnosed, there were not any ABA facilities anywhere in Sherman or Denison, which is like a neighbor city. So for 3 years, I drove Owen to therapy 5 days a week in Dallas. So I understand that dedication and that what that decision means to take that time, and it's a toll on your health as well, the driving and but we do
It's
what
worth
we
it.
have to do, so I
Our
understand that.
children did not ask to be put here on this earth. And so I feel like once they're here, you have to do everything you can
That's right.
to make them as successful as possible.
That's right.
Absolutely. I was reading in your bio that you were an attorney, a family law attorney. And do
A
you
long
still?
time ago, a
Oh, a long
very
I
long
time
also
time
ago.
read
ago,
that it said she's very retired. And
very
I
Oh,
was like,
retired.
that means I don't reach out to me for anything
yeah.
law related.
I just think that's
I
neat because
am
all
retired.
the families you probably helped, like with special needs, and you were an advocate for those families. Like, how long did you do that? How long were you? Did you have to quit your job to take your son to school and vice versa? Thing like where you
So
said.
I worked and then I stopped and then I went back. And then having four kids
Hmm.
is a lot, and
It is.
Yes.
I wanted to be here as much as I could for them.
Hmm.
So before John was born, I retired. Well, I took a step back, and I thought at some point I would go back to it. And then when I started driving, when John was born, and then when I started driving, I had a feeling I was not going to be able to go back to it because, back then you can't Google things. You weren't on your
No.
computer like now. You can
Mm-mm.
do almost anything
Yeah,
from
you
your
could do it
phone.
from your car.
Yes. Yes.
So, and then then I couldn't. And even the research I did, was like my
Yeah.
old dial up. I wasn't finding a whole lot there.
Yes.
Yeah, your
So,
book, reading books.
hmm,
So,
I was reading books.
what was one of your books that helped you through this dyslexia journey? I have a friend that actually a friend and a family member that was recently diagnosed with dyslexia. Like, what type of books help them through their journey? Inspirational, helpful,
Well,
informative.
right now, if she is having trouble, or he or she having trouble reading, I would say go listen to things. There are podcasts right now. There's like Facebook groups and podcasts and a
Yeah.
bunch of things. But for me, I bought a book by someone named Sally Shaywitz, and she was one of the pioneers. She and her husband were two of the pioneers for learning about dyslexia, and they are out of Yale, and they gave me these books. The books they wrote gave me a lot of inspiration,
Yeah.
and at the end there were stories of by people or about people. Exploring their journeys, different artists and musicians and
Mm-hmm.
authors.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a little technical in spots, and I had a little trouble with that, but the
Sure.
information was it was so informative,
Yeah.
and the stories were inspirational at
I
the
was gonna
end.
say how inspiring, and
Yes.
you know, I have a 501c3, a nonprofit organization called the Owen Foundation, where we provide sports camps for kids who have autism or any kind of special needs or disabilities to attend every year. And we have so many parents that we come in contact with through that organization and through Mighty Moms that who have kids who have dyslexia, because like you said, the comorbidities, you have autism, you like almost every time have ADHD.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I look at my son and I'm like, is this the autism or is it ADHD? What's going on?
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But
You
those
have to weigh it out. It's
inspirational
hard to tell.
stories, hearing about those inspirational stories, what I was going to say is through our nonprofit organization, we did an art auction, which would have been right up John's alley last
yeah,
year.
it would've.
So, and we tried it out. We did an art auction, and we found an empty building that's downtown Durant here that just had a really cool vibe. The guy who owns it's actually from the West Coast, and when he got there that night, he was like, "Oh my gosh, this reminds me so much of something that I'd see like in Seattle or whatever." It was just a really neat vibe. But what we had was we had local artists to contribute their art, and then we auctioned it for our 501c3. But the inspiration behind doing an art show was the the rubric that we gave the artists was here's a list of well-known, famous, or historical figures who had autism. And so that was the inspiration behind their painting. And it was really, really incredible because, and
was
that's what, one of the things that we try to educate and make the general public aware of is that our kids with special needs, like dyslexia or autism or ADHD, are typically highly intelligent.
Oh, yeah.
And creative and empathetic and all the things, and so I love that book had all the inspiration at the end because that's how we get through. That's how we get by other people's stories and their inspiration. That at least I can speak
Me
for
too.
myself that way.
That's why I was wondering what book I could get them. What was the book called, Lynn?
Um, I was hoping you wouldn't ask. I'm
Sorry.
getting it all come to me.
No, that's
You know
okay.
what? It'll
You
come to
had
me in a
said the
second. Just give
author's,
me a second.
and you had
But
said the author's
ask me
name,
something
didn't
else
you?
in the meantime.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries. No
So-
worries.
But the authors were Sally
Shaywitz,
Shaywitz.
Shawitz.
And see if she can find it that way.
Okay.
Let me see. I'm pretty sure overcoming dyslexia. Whew. Okay.
Oh, there you go. No worries. Yeah. We will be mid sentence sometimes, and
yeah.
I'll forget what I'm even saying. So
Me
I'll just
too.
have to look at Dee Dee and say, I forgot what I was saying.
And then I won't remember, so no shame there, though.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it
well-
was like, wait. So,
So what have we not asked or covered that you would like? Is there anything that you expected to talk about today? Because we're learning how to interview as we have guests on our podcast. So, the purpose of us having you on the podcast was, we saw another mom, because we're Mighty Moms, who fought hard for their child and and he's doing well and he's flourishing. And you provided opportunities for him to do that all throughout his life and raised him to be successful. And now there's this book that is going to inspire and give so many people hope. So, we don't want to leave anything out. So, because like I said, we're still learning about dyslexia. So, what did we not cover that you want to cover that hopefully will give someone inspiration and hope?
Well, I would say two things. The first thing I would say is the world isn't always the kindest. I think you really need, unfortunately, I think,
Yeah.
especially in education,
Yeah.
partly it's partly that, and partly I think so many teachers have too many kids and they're overworked and
I do
underpaid.
agree with that.
And, I think it's very hard. And I think they have to teach to, not to the middle always, or not to the kids who
Right.
might not be achieving the milestones. And I think it's really important for parents, if you feel that something isn't quite right, don't don't just listen to what the teachers or the talking heads are saying. I think you really need to understand your child,
Mm-hmm.
listen to what they're saying and maybe what they're not saying. I think
Mm-hmm.
sometimes kids are very frustrated, and good kids might start acting out because they're just
Yeah.
frustrated and can't say, but I can't read that word, because they don't know they can't read that word.
Right.
And I think it's really important to listen to the verbal and nonverbal cues and go with your gut and keep trying to find an answer, no matter what you think the issue could be.
Yeah.
That's great
And
advice. Yeah.
and I think, for us, the book was an avenue. It was during COVID,
Yeah.
and um
Something
we
fun you
baked,
did
and we
together.
yeah,
You
and
were
we were
very
together.
retired, so you were not
I,
practicing law.
I wasn't, and my other kids are older than John and grown, and John was home from college, and it's very hard to do art virtually.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so he was looking for other ways to vent his creativity. And I was reading on FaceTime with my grandchildren, and we are like, oh, why don't we write a kid's book? And we didn't honestly know where it would go.
I
And it
love it.
progressed until we, had it published. And the the amount of wonderful positive feedback has been amazing. And John wanted to have kids see themselves in a book.
Yeah.
And there are so many, he didn't see himself anywhere in children's
Yeah.
books.
Sure.
And he said, I want to change that. And
I love
we've
that.
we've had so much positive, thanks, so much really positive feedback, that we're now writing a series. And the next book's
Ah,
going to come out soon. Actually, been working on it for a while, and it's about ADHD. And
I
Oh,
so,
love
nice.
that.
yeah,
I
same
love it.
characters, adding a new character, but they're all at the
Yeah.
Creative Cab Company, where Robby works, Robby the Dyslexic Taxi and the
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Airport
Uh-huh.
Adventure. And
Yes.
this one will be an ADHD cab, with a different adventure.
Oh,
I
I
And
love
love
it. I can't wait
that.
till you do an autism
I was
one.
going to say, and then autism is next, right?
well, when we work on that, I'm going to absolutely need your help, because
Yeah, I would
that's
love for your characters to be
So
Tad and
I
Owen.
love that. And so I have always wanted to write a book, and then recently had thought about a children's book. I have a writing degree and I love to write. And so I might be picking your brain and hopefully getting connected with you on how to proceed. And I may need an illustrator as well.
Oh, yeah, that would be
well,
cool.
we'll be happy to talk
We
more
know
about all of
someone.
it.
Yeah. Well, thank you
We
so much for
Thank you
coming
for
on.
having me. This has been
And
really wonderful.
we have just enjoyed meeting new people through this podcast, and you're one of our furthest
Yeah.
connections, like Connecticut. That's really far for
Yeah, I
us.
love that.
So we appreciate you connecting with us. And if you're ever in our neck of the woods, you're more than welcome to come. I mean,
Thank you.
if you happen to be here on April 26th, we're having our autism
Autism
conference,
conference.
and if you wanted to come be a guest speaker, we'd be happy to get you hotel accommodations.
Oh, you're
So
so kind. Well, let's talk about it. I'm
let's
happy
talk
to.
about it. I love that.
That would be great. Be happy to talk about it. I think the more conversations we all have
Yep.
the better for everybody. And,
Yep.
the computer, the virtual world in some ways can be, difficult, but I think in so many wonderful, positive ways, it brings us closer
Absolutely.
Yes.
together.
Yeah.
And I want to hopefully encourage who had said that John loved being able to see himself in the book, but also by you writing this book, it allows people who aren't dyslexic and kids who aren't and I love that.
It
Well,
definitely spreads awareness on
thank you.
dyslexia.
Yeah, it's opened up really wonderful conversations. Just a quick, when I read it to my grandson's classroom a year
Yeah.
ago, and they were at the age where they were starting to, some of the kids could read and were learning, and they were asking, they either could see themselves and we're a little like, oh, keep trying to find that answer until you feel that you've come up with something that explains what your child is going through. Oh, maybe that's why I can't read this, or oh, I didn't know that about,
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
else. And it
Yeah.
opened up wonderful conversations with the kids and with the teachers too.
Yeah,
And I think
that's great.
as parents or caretakers, you know, when your child is different, you get so frustrated when other children or even adults make, hasty remarks when they don't have any
Yes.
experience, but that is why we educate
Yes.
and open up those opportunities. I went from being frustrated that someone would say something, and I completely had to change my mindset to that is an opportunity for me to educate
Yes.
them about autism. That is an opportunity for me to educate them about dyslexia
Yes.
instead of being frustrated, because being frustrated won't get you anywhere. So
No.
No,
So
it's a
can
natural response, but
it
you're
is.
right. You need
It
to you
is.
need to try
That's
to
our
teach people.
opportunity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So tell us where people, our audience, can purchase this book.
Thank you. Well, we have a website, Creative Cab Company, where you
okay.
can buy it. You can go to Amazon and buy it. If you have a local bookstore and you don't see it, they can order it for you.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then, follow us on social media, Creative Cab Company.
Okay.
Reach out. Anyone has questions, they can do that there or our website. And we really love to talk to people about all of this. So,
All right.
thank
Well,
you for
we'll be sure
having
to
me.
post all that information in the details of this podcast.
Thank you.
And thank you, Lynn, for joining us.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. It
And
was
we look
nice to meet
forward
you.
to talking to you more about your future books.
Somebody by saying this, and I love that you
That would be wonderful. I'd really love to do that. Thanks again.
Tell John we said hello.
dyslexic to see John in a book. Yeah.
I will, and he says hello back.
Aw.
Okay. Thank you. Have
Thank
a
you
great
so much.
day.
Thanks, you too.
Okay, Mighty Moms, we're signing off.
Connect with us on our Mighty Mom socials, submit your topic ideas, and share it all.
Follow us at Mighty Moms Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Also, visit our website at mightymomspodcast.com. And remember, together we are a worldwide cult of Mighty Moms.
Listen, my carpets used to be a struggle to keep clean. Between 2 boys and 2 fur babies, I was always cleaning up spills and stains. Then I found Ray at ChemDry. And basically, I've had him on speed dial ever since. So when you need your carpets, furniture, or even hardwood floors cleaned, call or even text ChemDry. Ray will get you all cleaned up. Founded, owned, and operated by nurses, Angels of Care Pediatric Home Health's clients are at the heart of everything they do. Proudly serving the medically fragile community since 2000, Angels of Care offers private duty nursing services, speech, physical, and occupational therapies, and respite care across the nation. We are also happy to announce we have started offering services in Colorado. Please visit angelsofcare.com or call 855-45-ANGEL for more information. Get your halos on.
If you've been in an automobile accident or have vehicle damage, S&L Collision Center is the body shop to call for all your auto body repair needs. Larry Hallmark and family have been in business for many years. They are honest and do exceptional work. I have had all of my vehicles repaired by them and have always been satisfied with their work. So if you're in the need for auto body repair, call S&L Collision Center at 580-924-5958. Blackburn Plumbing and Air provides high-quality plumbing, heating, and air conditioning services in Durant, Oklahoma, and throughout the Texoma region. With a proven track record for getting exceptional results, they are ready to take on even the most challenging plumbing and HVAC issues.
Contact them at 580-775-1779 to schedule your appointment today.
Has your Texoma area kiddo recently been diagnosed with autism? You received an order for ABA therapy, but have no idea what ABA therapy is or where to enroll your child to receive ABA therapy? Well, look no further than the Owen Academy. TOA was opened in early 2024 and is owned by a local autism mom who has previous business experience in opening varying categories of clinics in Texas and Oklahoma. But most importantly, she has real-world experience navigating life as an autism mom. The Owen Academy has gone above and beyond to create a beautiful and imaginative environment in their now 2 clinic locations in Durant, Oklahoma, to ensure that their therapy techniques are always child-led and play-based. The Owen Academy is proudly serving many families in Bryan, Atoka, Grayson, and Marshall counties with a goal to always expand when and where there is a need. In addition to their warm and inviting therapy clinics, the Owen Academy has gone the extra mile to ensure the qualifications, compassion, heart, and stamina of their board-certified behavioral analysts and registered behavior technicians. At TOA, we are a family. We would love for you to join us and help us continue to create awareness and compassion for individuals with autism in our community. If you're looking for a career in autism therapy or looking to enroll your child in our therapy services, email us today at info@theowenacademy.com or call 580-706-OWEN. That's 580-706-6936. The Owen Academy, where possibilities are limitless.
Bushwhackers Land Clearing and Brush Grinding Services provide cost-effective land clearing and brush grinding services in Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, and the surrounding areas. Their environmentally conscious approach keeps soil disturbance to a minimum and can clear without leaving brush piles to burn. They provide commercial land clearing, farm, ranch, pasture clearing, and ROW and pipeline clearing. For all your land clearing needs, call or text Jerry at 580-920-5039 to get your estimates today.
Ladies, let me tell you about my personal experience with Plumped Injectables and Beauty Bar in Durant. Yes, I get Botox like clockwork every 4 months. There's no shame in it for me. I love that I've been able to watch my forehead lines and crow's feet disappear over the last year, and I can't imagine now ever not getting Botox from Randy and her girls at Plumped. Their location here in Durant has such a serene and peaceful vibe. As soon as you walk in the door, you're greeted with a sweet hello and the scent of their very own signature diffuser oil. From Botox, lip flips, and microfacials to lash and eyebrow tinting, hydrating facials, body sculpting and waxing, and so much more, Plumped has all of your top-tier beauty essentials covered. Get your Plumped on by calling 580-634-2852 or emailing plumpedbeautybar@gmail.com. Visit plumpedbeauty.com to see their comprehensive list of services and see what the buzz is all about. If you're into building your own pizza, salad, or dessert with the most incredible toppings, look no further than the Corner Crust, a uniquely curated pizza cafe on the corner of 3rd and Main in historic downtown Durant, Oklahoma. And if you're not in the mood to build your own pizza, they have all your traditional pizzas on the menu, plus some fun and flavorful options like pickle pizza and Mexican cowboy. Yeehaw! Follow the Corner Crust on Facebook for special events like live music by local featured artists, teen night, motorcycle night, or karaoke night. If we can say one thing about the Corner Crust, it's that they have options, and options make the world go around. Visit the Corner Crust Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., or book your special event by calling
580-380-42